This is AWANI Review. My name is Cynthia Ng. Citi Malaysia, 66 years strong. The bank exited its retail business 3 years ago and is now fully focused on institutional and corporate clients. How is the bank navigating the opportunities and challenges in the changing economy? And I think more importantly, how does Citi Malaysia fit into the bank's broader global ambition? Now, to unpack all of this, joining me today is Vikram Singh. He is the CEO of Citi Malaysia. So great to have you on the show, and thank you for having us here at your office.
Thank you, Cynthia, for coming here. It's really a pleasure to host you at our office today.
Now, Vikram, I understand that you took the helm at Citi Malaysia during the major transition where Citi exited 13 consumer business markets, including Malaysia. Talk to us, what is Citibank in Malaysia now? Because I think for most Malaysians, when they hear Citibank, they think about personal banking, credit cards. But what is the identity now?
So, Citi in Malaysia is broadly split into three businesses. One is Citibank Berhad, which is today a pure institutional business. We have small and medium enterprises, multinationals, financial institutions, public sector clients, banks, and of course the large local corporations. So it's a full-scale offering across the institutional space, right from startup companies to the most mature companies. As far as, that's one part of the business. The second part of the business is our shared services, where we have 3,700 employees and growing. In the course of the last 6 months itself, Cynthia, we've added 100 people. And these people are high quality workforce, which are part of Citi's solutions network. And this 3,700 strong workforce provides services to 55 Citi countries globally. So it's a very high-end workforce that provides anything from, anti-money laundering, KYC, sanctions, financial crime, trade finance, cash management, security services operations. So it's a very, over the course of the last 32 years that we've set this shared services business up, Malaysia has carved a niche for itself for these roles, which are considered the most critical roles for a bank: anti-money laundering, KYC, sanctions, etc. Right? So Malaysia has established itself as a very high quality center. The third is, of course, our brokerage, Citigroup Global Markets Malaysia, where we're on the Bursa, and where we provide, brokerage services to our institutional clients. So that's what Citi Malaysia is now. As far as credit card is concerned, we continue to offer credit card, but those are corporate credit cards. So if you're an employee of a corporate relationship, you can still get a Citibank plastic in your wallet.
That's good to know. Now, I do want to focus a little bit more on the corporate and institutional side of your business. Has Malaysia lived up to the expectations in those areas of business in the past 3 years that you have taken the helm here?
So when I compare to ASEAN, if you look at Malaysian corporates, right, Malaysian banks, right, when you compare to, let's say, other countries in ASEAN, they are actually the most international. Malaysian banks, they have a presence across several markets in this region. Malaysian corporates, right, they have a presence across several markets. So I would say Malaysian corporates are, in this part of the region, are the most multinational. And that is really what plays to our strengths. We are the world's most international bank. We have a presence in 90 plus countries in the world. That basically means that a client may want to go anywhere, Citibank will be there. We pride ourselves by saying that a Citi client anywhere is a Citi client everywhere. So you may go to Argentina, you'll get the same service as you get in Malaysia if you're a Malaysian company.
All right, that's great to know the wide network that Citibank has to offer. But if I can hone in a little from where you sit, looking at deal flows, right? Which client segments are really driving the momentum in Malaysia? Are they corporates, MNCs, GLCs? And are they mostly domestic, or do you see more FDI coming through?
Yeah. So again, by virtue of the fact that we have a presence in 90 plus countries, what happens is that in those 90 countries, 90 plus countries outside Malaysia, we bank local companies. like let's say in Europe, in South America, in North America, of course. So when those companies want to go international, want to come to Malaysia, they come to Citibank because they know we have a presence here. So we see the flows. Now, the flows have been very strong. Those flows manifest themselves into deposits, as well as loans that we provide to those customers, as well as FX flows coming from FDI. We saw very strong performance in 2024. 2025, Q1, we saw a strong performance. I think the Liberation Day kind of caused a bit of a lull because obviously there was a lot of uncertainty. So companies wanted to wait and watch. But after August, we've again seen the flows coming back in.
What are the sectors would you be able to share with us that stands out to you?
Data centers, electronics, medical devices. And these are all, particularly electronics, semiconductors, medical devices. These are all sectors, Cynthia, where the government wants to focus. So I think it's very important that Malaysia continues to focus on its competitive advantages. And there are many, such as data centers, electronics, semiconductors, aviation. It's a wide spectrum.
So you mentioned Liberation Day, Trump's sweeping tariffs across the world, I might say. And we have seen that come through in terms of numbers. Looking at FDIs, the latest quarter has been has taken quite a dip. I think 90% quarter-on-quarter, 90% a drop to 1.6 billion ringgit after what appears to be quite a strong year it has been for Malaysia. So from where you sit, do you see this as a more Malaysia-specific problem, or is it a part of a wider regional slowdown that you're seeing?
So one thing is clear that when COVID happened, companies went online. They also started looking at the supply chain resilience. You heard things like nearshoring. Then geopolitics happened. It furthered the trend of supply chain reconfiguration. And now tariffs have happened, so it cements supply chain resilience, right? The whole concept. Now, where I feel Malaysia stands in this whole scheme of things of what's happening on supply chain diversification, resilience, continuity of business, I think Malaysia is actually in a very sweet spot. Because when I look at the effective tariff differential between, let's say, China and the other countries, it's the widest between China and Malaysia. So which means that Malaysia will be the go-to place for companies that want to reconfigure their supply chain. So that's one thing that I feel very, and when I look at the chart, number one differential is Hungary. But when you go to Asia, it's Malaysia. And then you have, of course, countries coming after Malaysia. But Malaysia has the widest effective. Couple that with another very important data point, Cynthia, is that look at Malaysia's world competitiveness rankings. We are ranked, we were 34 last year. In 1 year, we climbed 11 spots. That's a pretty steep climb. So when you look at the fact that there is economic reasons for companies to relocate manufacturing to Malaysia and Malaysia's competitiveness rankings, it's a magic formula for us.
So that's the broader overview of the economy, the macro view, but let's bring it closer to banking, your business. So if you look at Malaysia's FDI, much of it is still concentrated in manufacturing. Services sector have picked up over the last couple of years, especially financial services. Are you seeing more demand as an institution, for more sophisticated financial solutions, looking at, the rise of digital economy, data centers, ESG financing? Where can you talk to us about the banking landscape and where does Citi Malaysia fit into it? Okay,
so as far as services is concerned, I'm a big fan that Malaysia should, just like it is promoting its manufacturing, should promote its services. We ourselves have skin in the game with 3,700 people here. The per capita wage that a services sector, especially financial services sector, earns is much higher than the average per capita, right? if you look at the wage growth, it's higher in services than in manufacturing. So when the government is talking about social mobility, rising incomes, raising the floor and raising the ceiling, I think services plays just the perfect role. And we are seeing that happening. We ourselves have 3,700 employees. We hire 400-500 a year. We've grown 100 just in the last 6 months. And I think, in my view, there is a clear strategy, and the government in its NIMP did come out with GBS as a strategy, right? What we also do is that in Penang, we work with USM to have, and we have a course over there where we call it GBS at USM, where we create more awareness among students graduating from the university as to what is a career in a GBS like.
When you talk about banking institution, financial services, Malaysia is often, or rather used to be seen as a place for support. Shared services, just one of it, as a backup to our more sophisticated neighbor, for instance, right? So do you see that shifting? And if not, what will it take for Malaysia to rise up in terms of providing more high-value, sophisticated financial services and to have more global mandates land here in Malaysia?
Right. So when I look at ASEAN as a region, I think, as I mentioned, Malaysian banks are probably the most international. I was based previously in the Philippines. Banks in the Philippines are largely, domestic focused. But Malaysian banks have a presence across ASEAN and beyond. So I think as a banking sector, firstly, the Malaysian banking system is very strong and healthy. So they are in the right position to help companies expand, and we're seeing that happening. So for example, recently we did a $2.8 billion data center financing in Johor. And Citi was a lead bank on that. And
is this part of the Johor SEZ?
No, this was outside. This was an existing data center which was basically refinancing its debt plus expanding capacity. So it was capacity expansion financing.
And I hear that Citi might be interested in Johor SEZ. Can
Absolutely.
you talk to us about that?
So again, by virtue of the fact that we have a presence in 90 plus countries, what we've done is, firstly, I believe that this is a compelling partnership, Johor Singapore SEZ. You've got the land, you've got the labor from Malaysia, you've got capital from Singapore. Singapore is a AAA rated economy. Malaysia is a single A rated economy. Malaysia is ranked 23. Singapore is ranked 1 when it comes to world competitiveness rankings. So I think as a combination, it is compelling. So any multinational which wants to expand or operate in Asia or ASEAN, it's compelling for them to look at this. What we are doing is, we have basically creating awareness in our global network about this SEZ. We are reaching out to our own relationship managers for these companies, creating awareness of what the SEZ is and why their clients should consider the SEZ for manufacturing and growth. So we have started seeing early signs of success, and I think as companies, and particularly I mentioned to you that April to August was a little bit of a lull because of the all the uncertainty. But now that things have settled down and the tariff issue is behind us, I think we should start seeing.
And those success that you have mentioned, are they or have they translated into deals?
Well, when we say deals, those are investments coming in. So we saw very clearly after August, we saw money coming in into various investments. So it is something that I feel very optimistic about.
Okay. Can I just continue a bit on the Johor SEZ, because that appears to be quite a concrete development for that area and also for Citi. What do you see makes Malaysia compelling then? Because Johor, yes, located right next to Singapore, but when it comes to looking at what we offer, is it talent? Is it the costs, of course, government incentives? What is the conversation among multinationals when looking to put their money into a location? I'm not talking about 5 years, this is long-term, 10, 20 years, billions of dollars.
Yeah. So when an investor looks at investing into a country, they look at three things. They look at physical and digital infrastructure. Second that they look at is policy stability. And the third thing that they look at is talent availability. So I think on those three fronts, Malaysia scores very well. You know, access to ports, access to the ASEAN regional market, center of Asia, Malaysia location, digital infrastructure. We've got amongst the best digital infrastructure in the country, in the region, right? And then finally talent. I think from a talent, globally we're ranked 33 in global talent ranking, which obviously is good. But so I think on all three fronts, Malaysia scores well, and that's the story that we're communicating with potential investors, that these are the three reasons you should invest in Malaysia.
Okay. What is their feedback?
We are inviting a lot of people to come and visit Malaysia. Come and see for yourself, right? And and everybody who's come has walked away talking very highly about what they're seeing here.
Okay. Well, that leads us to the people side. Talk about talent a little, because having MNCs and hubs those are one thing, right? But talent will decide if Malaysia can sustain the momentum. So, what skills or competitiveness do you think Malaysia should build up to move up the value chain? What are the skills do you think we sorely need right now?
So Citi was part of the AICB Financial Skills Framework Task Force, which we're looking at, sorry, not financial skills, future skills framework. And where we looked at sectors or roles which will get impacted because of AI, and what should be the strategy for financial services sector to basically mitigate those risks. My own view is that you know, the niche that we've created in Malaysia across, broadly speaking, what we call surveillance. You know, I mentioned to you KYC, sanctions,
anti-money laundering.
Yes,
that,
yes, absolutely. For us, we continue to build on that expertise, and we create a competitive advantage that is, we continue widening the gap between our nearest competitor. I think that's one area where I think we can really, in services particularly, put our skills. I think as far as manufacturing is concerned, couldn't agree more with the NIMP. Right?
So from where you sit for Citi Malaysia, where are the areas that you will double down on investment in Malaysia? Where would that be?
So I think growth of our CSC, I mentioned to you, just in the last 1 year or 6 months, sorry, we've added 100 people.
Yeah.
So, and this is not across one unit, across different units. So each unit is growing. That's a positive sign. It's not just one unit which is growing. It's important to fire on all cylinders for me, right? So I think that's an area where we'll continue to grow. As far as our banking business is concerned, our loans are up, our deposits are up, you know, so which basically means that we are able to support our clients a lot more. And I think that will continue, whether it is supporting in terms of capital raising, mergers and acquisitions, divestitures, you know, helping clients connect the dot, helping clients go international, helping international clients come to Malaysia. Is what we continue doing and doubling down on.
Turning to personal insights, so you've mentioned, how have you personally had to evolve your leadership style to take into account all these changes we are seeing, not just in the financial services banking area, but globally? I think CEOs have a much tougher job than before.
Yes. I think the most important thing that I tell my team is continuous learning. You know, that's the number one secret to success, right? AI is going to disrupt a lot of things. So before, I tell my team, disrupt yourself before, you know, and that's very important, that you, when I say disrupt yourself, you have to continuously think of ways, better ways of doing things, increasing your productivity, increasing, you know, the outputs, etc. And I think that comes with continuous learning. We invest a lot of money through our HRDF funds into AI, into Python, into, you know, Six Sigma courses. It's to build that muscle memory of continuous learning. We have a partnership with Citi Malaysia since 2021, where we run a course with them. It's called the Financial Crime Compliance Certification Program, where so far 81 students have graduated and another 35 have enrolled this year. Again, it's very important because financial crime is here and now, right? You're seeing it all the time. So it's not just 81 students, it's the multiplier impact that comes from training 81 people who basically are the first line of defense in preventing financial crime. So we're very happy with that. So I think these are some of the things that we are doing to ensure that we keep the workforce future ready.
Okay. Well, when you mention financial crime, I do wonder, as a CEO, what are some of the biggest risks in your periphery? Financial crime would probably be one of it, but what are the other areas that you think we need to double down on investment?
So COVID made sure that everybody went online, and that means increased online risks. So we did see a surge in attempts, right? So it could be, you know, the kinds of attempts could be impersonation, it could be account takeovers, etc. So obviously, as an international bank which operates in 90+ markets, we have to ensure that our clients get very, very robust controls, very robust governance on their operations. So we have tools which basically allow them to mitigate these risks. And now today, everything is on, you know, 99% of our transactions today in Malaysia are digital. And these are very robust platforms that we've created to ensure that our clients are, you know, have not only robust, you know, platforms, but also scalable, not only in Malaysia, but globally.
All right. Now, just finally, let's wrap up by looking ahead. And looking at the challenges, opportunities in front of you, what would success look like for Citi Malaysia, say in 5 years' time? I'm going to assume that you'll be here in Citi Malaysia still in 5 years' time, but what does that look like to you?
I think to be able to deliver a fulfilling career to each of our employees, and to ensure that people live up to their potential. Very often, when you work in Citibank, you will realize that you have much more potential than you thought. And I think that's the signature of Citibank. You know, it's basically people living up to their potential. We welcome mobility. I encourage mobility. 48% of our open positions were filled by internal candidates. We're very proud of that. We want for people to, you know, grow. We want people to fulfill their, well, what I would say, we want people to have fulfilling careers.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Vikram, for sharing Citi Malaysia's journey and Malaysia's evolving role in the wider economy. It's been a fascinating conversation. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Equally fascinating for me,
Thank
Cynthia.
you.
Thank you for a very, very good set of questions and very good interview. Thank you. Thank you very much.